Hi, I'm Ken Kessler, and welcome to the Sounds of Christmas podcast. If you're new to this podcast, I want to start by saying thanks for joining us. If you're not new, welcome back. Either way, I'm glad you're here. Now, to avoid any confusion, I want to say that there won't be any music played here. This is a place for conversation. I'll talk about Christmas music and some related topics, sometimes by myself and sometimes with guests. If you're looking for music, just go to soundsofchristmas.com and click on the tree or the player on the front page or on the Listen Now page. We play the best variety of Christmas music all year long. Well, except in October, when we play the best variety of Halloween music. I'm very happy to welcome singer, musician, entertainer Michael Sinatra back to the podcast. Hi, Michael.
Hello. Thank you for having me back.
Thanks for joining us again. Michael was with us last spring for the first of a three-part podcast about making a Christmas album. And when we last talked, you're really still in the planning stages. You had a good idea of what you were hoping to do, and you're about to really get into it. Before we start on the new album, let's backtrack just a bit and talk about your first Christmas album, An Old-Fashioned Christmas. That one came out, I think it was 3 or 4 years ago, right?
Yeah, it was actually several Christmases on, adding songs each year, and then it became the whole album at the end.
What do you remember about the process of making that one?
Well, how that one is different than how I did it now is I got to bring in live musicians into the studio. So
Okay.
I was able to bring in a pianist. So that one simply was just an accompanist and simply vocal pianos. And then we added I think there was a ukulele on one of the songs. And then I did some percussion. So it was very like sing-along home feeling, in your living room type of, album.
You had a terrific set of standards for that one. When it was all, I hate to say finished, because you kept adding to it. And then there was a deluxe version a couple of years ago that had even more songs.
Yeah.
But it was a great set of standards. Was there any particular reason that you chose the songs you did?
I wanted to do the songs that I remember growing up listening to with my parents and what we sang along with, like you in church, or just when they had parties, or we had carolers come to the door. I used to go caroling too when I was younger as well. So it was those songs that I remember, the Bing Crosby, the old-fashioned Christmas songs.
The last time we talked, we also ran through your other releases, and anybody that's interested, you should check that episode out, or better yet, you can go to his website, michaelsinatra.com. You can check out his entire discography there, also get connected on social media and see what's new. I'm guessing that when you have tour dates, those will be there too.
Yeah, eventually, everything got pushed. Now I'm booking stuff for next year. I'm not sure. This year is now kind of weary, and I'm mainly just doing private stuff. As far as public events, that looks like next year is we're hoping for that.
One last thing before we get to the new album. I noticed on your YouTube channel, you have a new video up about a month ago for The Way You Look Tonight. You've got a bunch of other videos of performances with the St. Louis Big Band and your own Sinatra Jazz Trio, but this looks like your first music video. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm experimenting. So I was looking for someone who does videos and who could do one of my songs. So that's an experiment. And so I put that out there on the Google and see how that's going. And it was pretty cool. And actually that's with somebody else, I'm doing a Christmas one, but this one I'm doing a sing-along with one of my songs from An Old-Fashioned Christmas, going with the Jingle Bells, since that's public domain and that's easier to work with.
And that'll be the next video?
Yeah, that's coming out. It's already done. I have to wait till Halloween's over.
Right.
And then it's coming out. But it's that one's a sing-along. So I wanted to sing along because my son, Luca, would always in a car, he said, "Oh, let me listen to you, Daddy. That's you." And he would sing along to Jingle Bells, and that's all he wanted to hear over and over again. I'm like, "Oh, that's a good idea. We should do like a lyric video where you can just sing along." And so that's what I did. It's like a fun beachy one. It's like a beach and Christmas theme mix mashed together with the lyrics on the video, so you can sing along with.
Very nice. Very cool. Fast forwarding into 2021 now, where are you with the new Christmas album?
Okay, so I was gung-ho at the beginning of the year. I'm like, I'm going to do 2 albums. we're going to do another standards album, and then we're going to put out another Christmas album. And so I got halfway. I was doing both simultaneously, and I got halfway done with both. So I have later this month like an EP coming out with my standards, and then I have the Christmas almost done. So that one I have 7 songs, and that's what I'm going to be pushing out either late October or the beginning of November.
Do you have a title for
and if you like, yeah, I'm going very basic. Christmas.
Very good. Easy to find.
Yeah. As simple as standards was, it's Christmas is just this. I just went with the simple theme.
I can tell you, as somebody who is always searching for Christmas music, always adding things to the station, there are some singers and some bands who like to get really creative and very clever, and they name their Christmas albums something that's so unique that it becomes hard to find. If you do a search for Christmas music and they have something else, you might think to look up things like last month of the year or gift wrap or something like that. But sometimes they come up with something that's very esoteric, and good for them. That's really clever. Your fans will dig that, but finding new people to discover it is going to be hard. Naming it Christmas is going to make it very easy for everybody to find it. In fact, you search Michael Sinatra Christmas, you'll find them both.
Yeah. You'll get a lot of people albums. But yeah, I just wanted something simple and just plain, and just as I did standards, and it's easy to find. Just, search Michael Sinatra and boom, pop up.
Okay. Now with an old-fashioned Christmas, you mentioned that these were the songs that you remembered growing up and listening to. Is that the same thing for the songs you have for the new one, or is there different inspiration for that?
So the old-fashioned Christmas was traditional, classic Christmas songs, old-fashioned. And so the newer album is now I went more creative with the instrumentation. So I think, as you as well, I grew up as a percussionist, drums and percussion. Mm-hmm. And so what I remember you saying is that, you grew up playing in concert bands and in bands, and you played all the Christmas songs, right? You played.
Oh yeah.
So you were mentioning Sleigh Ride, right?
Yes.
So yeah. I connected with you with that as well, because I was the percussion guy on the tempo or wood blocks playing or the whip crap. So I'm on the same page with you as that. So that's actually one of the songs, but it's not making it on this year's album. That one is still got a ways to go. I started many songs, and the 7 that are going to be finished I can give you some titles if you
sure.
like. I went with some fun ones. So I'm gonna do Holly Jolly Christmas, Bro Ives. I like that song a lot. So that one has a lot percussion, has some big band and the traditional, rhythm section, piano, upright bass and drums. But I'm using a lot like chimes. There's tubular bells. There's vibraphone. So there's all, a lot of different kinds of instruments as well, brass. So also I'm going to do this song called, remember Marshmallow World?
Oh yeah.
It's a marshmallow world in the winter. Yeah. So that one's like the Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra. And that one has a 17-piece horn section.
Wow.
It was, yeah. And so that one, so what was cool about putting this album together is I got to use so many different musicians from all over the world. But everything is, they just record from where they're at and they just send you all their stems. So I got to, tell them what I was looking for, send them some charts, and then they would send me all their stems and send me like a demo version of what it's going to sound like. Then I sent them to my guy in California, and he mixes them all together. But it was fun. And then I got to work with some singers, did some background. There's some background singing on a few of the songs. And so Holly Jolly Christmas, Marshmallow World. Oh, and the Little Drummer Boy. So that one's for my dad, because my dad was a drummer. So, and this one's all percussion. It's got bass, snare, cymbals. I think there's a triangle. There's like and that's just me singing to just percussion only for the Little Drummer Boy.
It's funny. That particular song is kind of a pet peeve of mine because I was someone who grew up as a little drummer boy.
Yeah.
I played the drums, and while I run this station, I get in the neighborhood of 1,000 songs sent to me every year. And every year, without fail, I'll get 5 or 6 versions of the Little Drummer Boy that are a cappella with no drums.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, come on. I get it. If you've got a beautiful voice, that's terrific. But really, use your head. This is a song about playing a drum. There has to be drums in it.
Yeah, this one has snare drum, bass drum, like concert bass drum, and then a lot of snare. So you're gonna hear the drum rolls, and it's gonna be the rudiments gonna be awesome. I'm excited about it. I'm a big fan of percussion, so heavy percussion. Like instead of strings, I think I'm just using percussion on stuff. That's my influence. That's my background. So that's what I'm going with.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay, so Little Drummer Boy.
So, yeah, Little Drummer Boy, Holly Jolly Christmas, Marshmallow World. I'm doing Mistletoe and Holly. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that one.
Oh yeah. By
Holly.
golly. Yeah.
Yeah, that one was cool. That's pretty smooth. And then I'm doing a jazzy version of I've Got My Love to Keep Me Warm.
Mm-hmm.
That was jazz combo. And so that has a saxophone, upright bass, piano, and drums, and it's me singing. So that one's really cool. And I also did with that same type of instrumentation. Santa Claus is coming to town. Got to do that one for my kids.
Nice. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm missing. If there's another one or not. I can't count.
I think that's it.
I think those are the ones that are coming out and will be ready. Just finalizing the touches on it. Oh no, I forgot that. Hello. It's the most wonderful time of the year. Oh my God.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's the last one. Yeah. So that one too, that one's the more traditional, but I'm also using lots of percussion as well as the basic rhythm section. So
how was it, since you're used to working with live musicians there around you, how was it working with people who are all over the world who are getting you kind of like puzzle pieces to put together?
Yeah, so I always start with the piano. I have a great guy, Steven Solomon in LA that I use, and I start with him first. We come up with the arrangement, or he'll come up with a good arrangement, and we'll just start with simple piano. Then we add the bass. Guy in France plays upright bass, really good. He's on most of my albums. He's phenomenal. And then I use just different drummers. Then I add the drummers, and then I start building it up. Like so we start doing the horns, and then we'll add some percussion. So that's how we structure it and build it up from there.
Was this easier, more difficult than the last one, or just different?
It's more because it involves a lot more people involved. So you're dealing with a lot of people who don't speak the language, so you're typing, and so I don't know if they use programs that interpret the English to whatever their native language is, because I work with many different people from different kinds of countries, and so sometimes they're broken English, or the way they would communicate would be a little off a little bit, but I was able to figure it out and with some patience. But it's neat, and it's a different way, and I guess it's how things are pretty much are getting done nowadays.
So in another month and a half or so, there'll be the Jingle Bells video, and then the Christmas album. And what happens next?
I'm gonna promote them, but I'm still gonna record. I still gotta finish so I can release so next year, 2022, the full album. So it will be the songs that I released this year, plus the additional ones that I started working on already, which will include an original song. But it's really hard to write original song when you've never written an original song. So I have a bunch of lyrics everywhere, notepads, and I've started working on it, but it's going to take some more time.
And
very critical.
And you've got the standards. That's an EP too, the Not Christmas one, right?
Yeah, that one's almost done. That one's like a few days away to being done.
So basically, it is a new album. It's just two EPs, one Christmas and one standards.
That's correct. Yep. And
Yeah.
I've been working with them at the same time. So one time I'll go in the studio. Well, hey, let's do some from the standards today. Okay, let's do a few Christmas songs. Why don't you get in the spirit, get a little jolly in you, and let's see if we can how those will come out. Sometimes when we'll lay down a pass, and I'm like, my guy Orlando, he's like, you know what, I wasn't feeling Christmas in you that time. You need to do that one again.
I would think that would be hard to go back and forth between Christmas songs and then into standards, or from standards into Christmas songs back and forth. That would be kind of tricky to be able to catch the spirit of both, because there's definitely a spirit to doing the time tested standards.
Yeah, it is challenging at times because I got to change modes, and then I'll put on like a Christmas like hat or some, just I have the Christmas sleigh bells. I have a pair. I mean, they're not with me right now, but I do have a pair of Christmas sleigh bells that I've used and mainly in the first album. That always gets people because, oh, here comes Santa Claus thing, the sleigh bells.
It's always interesting to hear how different artists kind of get into the spirit, because so much of the Christmas music that we get to enjoy, that I play on the Sounds of Christmas, isn't recorded at Christmas time. I mean, Mel Torme famously recorded the Christmas song
July,
in the heat
right?
of summer. Yeah.
Yes.
And they've got the Christmas lights in the studio, and, whatever they can to sort of get into the spirit. Because if you're, like you were saying, if you're singing the Christmas song, if you're singing It's the Most Wonderful Times of the Year, but you're not feeling it, you can kind of tell.
Yeah. And you have to be in character. You have to smile. Like you can tell when a person's smiling in the song, when they're singing, you can tell what they're doing. You can hear it. You can hear the smile. You can hear them doing that. And I always, my vocal coach, you got to smile. I'm like, you weren't smiling during that take. You weren't smiling during that phrase. You need to smile more. So you always got to smile when you sing.
Is there anything that we haven't hit on the new release that you think that everybody should know about, or you'd like everyone to know about?
Well, I just want to, all the praises go out to all the musicians, because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be able to do all this. There's so many struggling musicians out there that are working really hard, and I'm doing my best to get them some work, get them some gigs to where they can contribute and make some money during this time, so where they can't get out and perform. So I'm doing what I can.
I know I have, and I'm sure you do too. I have lots of friends that are musicians that once the pandemic hit, now a year and a half ago, concert performances stopped, and they're starting up in some places, and then they're shutting down again. It's got to be really tough, and to be able to get work, and technology makes it amazing that you can do this, that somebody in another country is able to record saxophone or bass or whatever it is that you need.
Isn't that incredible?
Yeah,
it's just amazing. Like, because I'll just send them what I have here. I got a piano and I got a bass and drums, and can you just here's a little sample of some of my vocals, and if you just play here, give me some sax part, like the guy is he doesn't, I don't give him any music. He'll just like create the part on his own. He'll just make it up, like a lot of this stuff on the new Christmas album, on Santa Claus is Coming to Town, or I've Got My Love to Keep Me Warm. That's just him creating the music around my vocals and around the arrangement. So it's really cool. He's also on my standards album, and he has some songs in there as well. And he's just incredible. There are just so many talented musicians out there that don't get enough praise.
Oh yeah, it was amazing. I remember I've always been a huge Beatles fan, and I'd hear these stories about how, like, Paul would go into the studio and he would record his voice, and then he would record the drum part, and he would record all the different parts, and there would be a song that is just Paul playing everything all at once. And you think, wow, that's amazing. But this really takes that all to another level, that you've got people in other countries who are playing the parts for what will eventually be your Christmas album. That's incredible.
Yeah, and they don't necessarily get to hear always the final product or how it's coming along. They just have a little tiny snippet, and they're like, they're just doing their part just for that. They don't see the whole picture. So it's just amazing what they can bring to it, just knowing what little they know.
Yeah, that's incredible.
It's wild.
I can't wait to hear it. Will there be a single out?
No, I don't think I'm gonna do a single. I think I'm just gonna push it all out there, and I'm just gonna promote it. I'm just gonna push it hard.
Very cool. Well, we'll talk again closer to time when, I guess sometime in October. October's next month. That's crazy.
Yeah. So you what do you do? What do you do for October? You do Halloween music, right?
Yep.
So what type of Halloween music?
Anything that is about ghosts and witches and that kind of stuff, or that kind of mood. There are trick-or-treating songs. There's Monster Mash and Season of the Witch. And I have probably close to 1,000 different songs, because there's so many songs like that. And then just like Christmas music, there are lots of different versions. Everybody thinks of Bobby Boris Pickett doing Monster Mash.
Yeah.
The Beach Boys recorded it.
Really?
Andrew Gold and Stephen Bishop did a version of it. There's a band called the Dolly Rots that have done a version of it. There's so many like that. I probably have 7 versions of Ghostbusters. Different bands.
Ghostbusters.
Different bands did it for each of the movies. So
yeah.
So there are all these, but it's the same kind of thing. And I'll plug those in there in October, so then I can get all the new music, like your new Christmas album, loaded up, so it's ready to go on the 1st of November.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, I have it's kind of a spooky song. I'm doing Witchcraft. You're familiar with the Witchcraft?
Oh yeah.
So I'm doing a version where it's just vibes and percussion, vibraphone and percussion. So that one sounds kind of spooky, and that one's pretty cool. And maybe I'll send you that. You can take a listen.
Oh yeah, I'd love to hear it, and I'll get it in for our Sounds of Halloween coming up.
Ken, I really appreciate your platform, the Sounds of Christmas. It's amazing. That's really cool. And I would always have it on. We had it on in the car, and my kids would listen to it, and then it was really fun. So I just want to thank you for what you do for everybody.
Oh, thank you so much. It's always nice to hear that. I don't want to derail this too much about me, but I have always loved Christmas music. And I worked in traditional radio for about 30 years, and I got really excited in the 90s when radio stations would start to go all Christmas, because I worked at some of them. And then we get the playlist, and it's the same songs over and over and over. And I think that's why, by the end of Thanksgiving weekend, people are ready to put a gun in their mouth when if they got to hear Mariah Carey one more time. And the thing is,
like that one station in LA that turns it on really early, they just play the same songs over and over again. It's just the same lineup, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, Mariah had All I Want for Christmas Is You is a song that a lot of people like, but if you hear it every hour, before December 1st, you're sick of it. And she's had lots of Christmas releases, lots of different songs.
And then she's re-recorded it a few times as well.
Yeah. So and it's the same with so many artists, whether it's Bing Crosby, you'll hear White Christmas, but Bing had lots of Christmas music, great Christmas music, and you don't hear that anymore. And that's why I started the Sounds of Christmas, because there is so much of this great music that never gets played, that I think people who like Christmas music would enjoy getting to hear that. And you'll hear Mariah Carey and you'll hear Bing's White Christmas, but you'll hear so much more. You'll get to meet new artists like you, that you'll hear songs that but it's performed by somebody new. And
us as artists, we appreciate that. So get that kind of exposure.
Yeah,
we thank you for that.
Well, it's my pleasure, and I just enjoy coming across new music, new Christmas music so much. Whether it's an original song, which is tough to get any airplay anywhere on, or whether it's a new take on a beloved classic. It's great to hear that, and it's great to be able to add that. So thank you for giving us more to listen to.
Wonderful. Thanks again, Ken.
Thank you so much for joining us. Looking forward to talking to you in another month or so and hearing about the finished product. And thank you for listening and helping me share some Christmas spirit and for helping this podcast continue to grow. We're on about 24 different podcasting sites. And since you're listening to this now, you've obviously found us somewhere. But if there's another site you like to use for podcasts, check out our podcast page on our website for the complete list of everywhere you can listen to the Sounds of Christmas podcast. And the website is www.soundsofchristmas.com. Then just click on the podcast tab. For the Sounds of Christmas station, to listen to the music, you'll need to stick with our website or our app in the Google Play Store. If you have any comments or suggestions, feel free to reach out to me on social media or through the website. Thanks again, and may you always believe in Santa Claus.